today. There's nothing wrong with being spiritually real with our families. Don't just be really spiritual, be spiritually real. That's how we protect our kids. That's how we protect our homes. And we can't do it by just saying, no, there. We've got to have the Lord's help and His values and His word to protect our families. Are you hearing me today? Please don't be upset with me. Don't be upset with me. I love you too much to not give you the truth. Even at the risk of being rejected by you, I will tell you the truth. Because I got to stand before God someday. I got to stand before God someday. Okay, I'm done. I'm not done. Here's my last point. God supplies, God supports. Lastly, the last promise we can have is the fact that God sustains us. God supplies, God supports, God sustains. He supplies by giving us everything that we need to build the house in a biblical manner. He supports us with His protection in a crazy world to give biblical guidance and boundaries to our families. And then finally, He sustains us. Look at verse 2. Verse 2 says this: "In vain you rise up early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat, for He grants sleep to those He loves." Some of you like that verse because this is where you get a lot of your sleep, is right here in this room. No matter how hard I try. And you all act like you're praying. It's like, oh, and just, I know all the tricks. But He sustains us. We rely on Him for our rest. We rely on Him for our rest. I want you to know that you are looking at a self-confessed workaholic who struggles with guilt for resting. My wife is amening me because she sees it, and my son's right next to her on that. I've somehow got it in my head that if I don't wear myself completely down doing God's work, I've somehow failed God. And the Lord has been helping me incredibly in the last number of years to recognize that there is a biblical value to getting Christ-like rest. Did you know that God rested after He created the entire world? And I don't think He did that because He was tired. I think He did that as an example to us. That there is a time that we need to cut ourselves off and get rest. You say, well, I'm too busy to rest. Okay, you're too busy. Then you're too busy. Because God is not... I am not going to stand before God for Him to say, well done, thou productive servant. That's not what He's going to say. He's going to say, well done, thou, hopefully, He's going to say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Good and faithful. I'm convinced that this culture is in serious need of rest. The kind of rest that God can give us, where we are sustained by the Lord. I think there's a strengthening that comes from the Lord that many of us need to latch on to. Jesus even said it in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. He said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you everything you want. That's not what he said. I will give you rest. Even when God was giving the promises to his people as they were going to the promised land, he said this to Moses in Exodus chapter 33, verse 14. He said this, the Lord replied, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. I think the church has become a little worn down. I think our culture is really worn down. We've convinced ourselves that activity equals productivity. And the more activity we have, the more productivity we have. And really, I've seen people do a lot of things and end up doing nothing.